Hey everyone, Margarita here. I'm going to film this episode today on the irrational belief that my mother has seemed to portray that she has any part in my life or seems to know information about me or my children. What people don't realize is that I had cut all ties with her right when I turned 18, 22 years ago, and bought my first home. Actually, it's been almost 23 years. And her entire family, which is hundreds of people, and all of her friends, co-workers, neighbors, none of these people are aware that I cut all ties with her all that time ago. And the only reason, just a little bit, that it may have been portrayed that she looks like she knows what she's talking about is due to the fact that we remained having a relationship with my dad separately. He would always come to my homes. Initially, he was allowed to leave with my oldest two children when they were much younger and take them back to his home. But because he's married to my mother, it was able to be portrayed a certain way when she would spread these delusions and lies in person or over the phone to all these friends, family members, neighbors, and all these large agencies, whoever she's been telling. That is the only reason these decades of delusions and the false narrative about me has been able to continue on and prevail over all this time. Now, it's extremely irrational for someone to believe that they're a part of my life when they have no part in my life whatsoever. We've never had a relationship ever from the time I was a small child. And then going forward, once I turned 18, we literally had no contact whatsoever. I literally cut all contact. We never talked. We never had a relationship. She knows nothing about me, never did. So the fact that all of these people out here operate on this false narrative about me, operate on whatever she's saying about me, the things she's saying, who I am as a person, or my actions in life, or what I'm building, or where I work, or how I make my money, or what's going on with my kids. None of that's ever been real. Whatever she's told people has never been real. Those are all street delusions that came out of her own mouth, made up in her head and coming out of her mouth. Because there's literally been no relationship, no contact. How can somebody with no relationship, no contact, know anything about somebody's life? Now, by just using the words, my mother, all of these people continued to believe her over the course of all of these decades, long after I had cut ties. And not only did I cut ties with her, but I cut ties with her family as well. So no one was ever getting any information directly from me. They just continued to get whatever information they were receiving from her. And no one was aware that we had never had a relationship. Everything she'd been saying along the lines, even when I was a small child, what she had been feeding people was not real. And then continued to do so all along the way, acting as if, portraying as if we had this relationship, we had contact, when it was all delusions out of her mouth. It's an extremely irrational belief, because at no time was there ever any conversations between us or any contact. Everything she was saying to all these people was just made up information to carry out the false narrative that she grew over the course of time. Now, this belief in her mind, this delusional or irrational belief that you're a part of my life when you're not, that screams extreme mental disorder right there. Those are huge red flags that all of this has gone on all of these decades without anybody questioning anything or talking directly to me or fact checking anything or verifying any information with me at any point along the way in the past 20 some years. Nobody's ever verified anything with me directly. Every person believes everything that has come from her mouth, which none of was ever true. She may have had a few half-truths in there, and that's what made her be able to portray her story a little better, but at no time did she ever have any direct facts or any information about me or about my life. The entire 23 years or so, longer than that, because this was going on longer than that, it was all false information she was feeding anybody, all these people, anybody she ever talked to, anybody on the phone, acquaintances, people in passing, people she's known for decades, her family, her neighbors. It doesn't matter who it was. Everything has always been false. And oh, poor me, my daughter's such a mentally disordered drug addict, hot mess, that I've had to raise her kids. We've always had custody of, we've raised her kids. That's all false information. No one ever looked into any of this. Every single person continued to operate as if all this information was real. If we crossed paths at any point, me and these other people at any point along the way, which was very rarely, you could tell they were on a whole other page than my reality of my actual life. And it took me some time to figure out that this was actually what was going on. But beyond that, she had used all these large agencies and all of these school teachers from the time before I was an adult. Along the way, she grew it from the time I was in preschool to the time I had gotten my first home, but then it turned into her using large agencies to harass me from behind the scenes because she had no direct contact or direct knowledge. She just continued to spin this web of this whole false narrative about me with all these agencies to continue to harass me, and by saying the words that she's my mother, they continued to believe her and harass and operate as if that was all real. Now, it had taken me some years to piece all of this together fully to where I have it today, because I have about 90% of the puzzle, maybe even a little more, all pieced together, all the individuals involved along the way, all the agencies involved along the way. I do know the majority of them. And then for all these individuals who accepted her delusional phone calls and this false information about me and then continued to operate on it as if any of that was real, that's extreme criminal harassment, extreme criminal stalking. Because now these people have falsely arrested me, caused further problems in my life, have uprooted my life numerous times, have caused me to lose, walk away from I did end up losing 2 of the homes. One I had to walk away from being chased by CPS. The other, it was due to me having to get that second home due to being chased by CPS, but the economy was crashing and the mortgage industry had crashed and was ripping everybody off at the same time. But I should have never been forced from my first home to be in that second home for that to be the problem. I should have been able to continue to build my life as I saw fit all along without these disruptions. And then at some point down the line, I was forced from 2 homes that I rented briefly, but it didn't matter. I was already working on buying the next home anyway. I did not stay very long at those 2 places either way. But then again, I was forced from this current home that I've owned for 8 years, forced away for 1.5 years during the Ford gas bill in 2021, due to her inserting herself in that and getting a whole bunch of people in the city and at the top of Ford to believe that my son and I were never injured, and that we didn't have a severe life-threatening condition, and that we weren't living on the floor with our brains bleeding. We literally had to have 0 particles, and the particle level was so high, we were in here with our brains bleeding near death, literally living on the floor for months until I got us out of here. So we were forced away from this home, but we did get to come back. And then during the time I was gone in 1 year, the people who stayed in it did over 100 grand in damage. So this is all fallout from this false narrative, this irrational belief that she knows some things about me, or she knows all this stuff about me which has never been real, and then all these people and agencies operating on her telling them all of this stuff, and none of it's ever been real. Anything out of her mouth about me has never been real. She knows no direct information about me. Everything is completely made up. She may get a half-truth here or therein because, again, my parents are still married. I am their only child. There is a reason they only have 1 child. So with us having contact with my dad would then bring back certain bits of information, but then at the same time, she was able to manipulate my older 2 kids as well, along with my dad, and that caused further issues and made it look like her false narrative was true, because she was using those around me to cause problems to make it look like her false narrative was true about me. Now, none of what she's ever told anyone, I don't care who you are, if you got your information directly from her and not me directly, and if you got that information from my kids and not me directly, you don't have correct information. You 100% are operating on delusions and false information. I will tell you that right now. So the fact that all of these individuals and agencies that to this day, there's still a problem with me traveling from point A to point B, or having problems with this agency or this police department or whatever, they are still operating on this false narrative about me, including the care facility where my dad has been for the past 2.5 years. They operate on this bullshit as well. And that's why I'm banned from seeing him, because it's all delusions and false information. And I can prove every bit of it. I can prove everything that's been said about me. These are not facts, these are delusions. and I can prove that I'm not the one who committed the crime, she did, but nobody's looking into it because she controls all of the local police departments and the care facility and the false narrative with all of those individuals, which is 20, 30, 40 people. So numerous problems here. It's extremely irrational to believe that you know so much about somebody that you don't have contact with and have not for some decades, and you have no role in their life. Everything that has come out of this, these are very serious crimes, because I have already done a video where I've listed off the crimes that she is directly responsible for that I do know have occurred. There's more than what I've listed. But if you view the video, I believe it's labeled the longest running Munchausen by proxy case, because it's not just Munchausen by proxy. There's a lot of control involved and several other mental and personality disorders, and there are many crimes along with that. Numerous counts of fraud, numerous counts of attempted murder, numerous counts of helping along with a death, and numerous counts of more than numerous, like hundreds if not thousands of counts of poisoning batches of food and or drink with intent to harm or kill. So I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Falsifying medical records, using others to do so, using her position as a hospital employee to do so, with myself, my son, my dad. So all of these are the crimes she has committed. You can view that video separately. I released it a couple of months ago. But this is all criminal in nature, and all of these people who have helped her along the way, some have just been made promises of things in the future, some have taken bribes, some have received payment already with with promises of future payment once the job is done. And some of this is provable. I believe much of it is provable. Some of this I am working on gathering future documentation. I am currently working on a certain stack of documentation at one facility, and I'm going to do this step at a time because I have to pay for it. So I'm doing it step by step at a time, and it's taking quite a while to get some of these documents because of the long-term nature of the crimes and what has all gone on and the amount of information in each batch that I'm ordering. So that's why it's taking so long, because I should have had the last batch that I ordered. It should already be in my possession. But it should be here in less than 2 weeks. And I will be doing the videos on that very soon. But the fact that all of these people and agencies, what they have done is also criminal, because it's all extreme harassment, slander, defamation of character. They're over here writing false reports on me based on the delusion she's telling them without fact checking anything, verifying anything. And everything that's been said can be verified, and they choose not to verify it. They just believe whatever she says. So all of these individuals are criminally responsible for the destruction of my life, the complete wipeouts, the Chapter 13 bankruptcy I'm now under due to the chaos. This is the fallout of the 2021 Ford gas bill, my mother's criminal actions during it, the criminal actions of the city of Flat Rock and Ford Motor Company, all criminal. And I nearly died numerous times, so did my young son. And that has led to what happened with the damage to my home while I was gone. There should have never been anybody put in my home for that damage to occur, the over 100 grand damage. And I released those videos as well. So you can view those separately under that section on my channel. None of that should have ever occurred. The fallout is still ongoing. The work to fix all of that 100 grand damage is still going on. Currently, I'm working on tying up the loose ends to that. I just can't make it move any faster, but the ball is slowly rolling. I am tying up some of those loose ends currently. That's why I haven't been posting as many videos. But all of the fallout just from that situation alone is still going on, which had led to my Chapter 13 bankruptcy, because not only did that lady do all that damage with her children, but she also threw away 2 insurance checks, even though it was only 13, 15 grand maybe, 16 grand, I don't know, something around, the 2 checks had totaled about that much. Didn't matter. It wasn't enough to get any significant work done in the home, but it would have been enough to keep me out of bankruptcy to get everything situated. So at the root, those are crimes as well. And I can't even press charges because the Flat Rock Police Department is also involved in the crimes long term, and they refuse to take the reports. They refuse to look into any of it. I was actually threatened by Sergeant Matthew Wilczynski that he's going to just come back to my home and he's waiting to falsely arrest me. So if that lady happens, oh my God, stop. You have to stop. Come pick up this cord. So if she comes back to my home, he said that he is going to falsely arrest me if she's to come back, and if she has not changed the address on her license to wherever she moved to, and she still has my address, he's going to falsely arrest me. He's not going to look into the crimes. He's not going to look into her throwing the checks away, which is exactly what has happened. It's not questionable. She was the only other adult in the home or had access to the mail. And I tried putting a hold on it at the post office, but after I did the first pickup, they didn't allow me to keep the hold on it, even though I told them what she was doing. They still continued to deliver the mail here, knowing she was going to throw them away after I told them what she had already done. And I suspected she had already thrown the first one away because they came at separate times, and they continued to operate and criminally operate against me as well. And no one is charging her for throwing away these checks leading to my Chapter 13 bankruptcy. But it's really all of these agencies and individuals involved in why I landed in Chapter 13 bankruptcy, because each step of the way played a role. There should have never been anybody in here in the first place for there to be any damage. The home was just remodeled right before that. So that further disrupted my future business plans, which should have been running quite some time ago for this home. I should already be in a different home, not the one I had to buy in Ohio in an emergency. That one shouldn't even exist. All of this is chaos and fallout from the ongoing delusion placing, the delusional phone call placing to all these agencies and people, and getting all these people to believe this false narrative about me. This is all fallout from all of that. This is all criminal in nature and what I have been dealing with. And it's not just the situation, because my injury is also criminal in nature, and how I ended up working at the place temporarily that caused the injury, what came out of that, and not being compensated is criminal as well, due to my mother's actions as a Beaumont Hospital employee. Beaumont Hospital is liable as well. And then we have the Oxford Center, who's tied in with all this as well. All of this ties back to my mother's criminal escapades long term. All the most recent batch of fallout all stems from the 2013 escapade, which I released that video about a month ago, so you can view that separately. That's what had led to everything that happened from that point to this point today in 2025. So each set of crimes piggybacks off the last. It's all over these delusions, this false narrative that's been running for decades, that was grown over the course of time with using all these different people and agencies, willing to help without question, never fact-checking anything, never talking to me. And not only that, but she's been trying to put false sets of charges on me in numerous different cities as well. And I can actually prove she's the one who's committed those crimes. And when I make reports that she's committed these crimes, because I usually do it in advance, which means I know what I'm talking about because I'm reporting in advance. These are all dated. And they still don't look into anything I'm saying, allow her to continue to commit the crimes. And then she turns around and points a finger at me as if I've committed these crimes, when it's all provable who's committed these crimes. But the police refuse to look into it properly because they're participating in the crimes and running on the false narrative about me as well. So this is all just extremely irrational, and it's criminally insane. There needs to be a criminal minds team brought in with the amount of individuals who have participated in this large-scale corruption and the fallout that I deal with in my life, because this is all targeted. I'm the main target. I've been directly targeted, and it has caused so many issues in my life that it has led to me being permanently disabled for the rest of my life. I live a limited modified life, and so does my younger son, due to all of this as a whole, and each situation piggybacking off the last, and what has come out of all of this. When people have a medical emergency, they're never left untreated. That never happens. And that is exactly what happened to us. So in total today, we have spent $165 grand at the Oxford Center out of pocket, on top of what my private insurance had covered initially. And that was 6 years of treatment, 2.5 years of daily treatment, and another 15 or 16 months or so of 2 days a week. Much of this was out of pocket. And if I did not do that, if I was not in the position I am in life, if I had not built my life to the degree I had by the time that injury had occurred, we would have never survived the injury in the first place. Everything is 100% provable. Not only that, but I hired Charmaine a little over 5 years ago to start documenting all of the crimes. She's the main mental health professional involved in all of this, and I had no choice but to bring somebody in on a mental health level, because it's my mother who has these serious mental health issues that are not diagnosed, and someone with her type of disorders would never be admitting they have anything wrong with them, and it is criminal in nature. But I needed something legally documented, and since all of the police departments locally are involved in the crimes as well, and the local hospital systems, and my records are being falsified at the same time, I needed someone to see exactly what was going on a regular basis to be able to get this properly documented in some way, shape, or form, since there's no true police reports, no true medical records in place. That was why she was brought in and is continuing to see things out until everything gets fully situated. Otherwise, she wouldn't be involved at all. But yeah, all these people, I'm not sure why they 100% just believe this deranged lunatic without question. No one has ever looked into any of it, especially the people who've been paid to insert themselves in my life or bring back information about me, whether it be briefly or long term. Those people are criminals as well. They've criminally participated as well. And this has gone interstate. This has gone down to Ohio with me. It did end up following me down there on numerous different occasions, numerous different situations. So this is federal at this point as well. That's what no one's understanding. Initially it was not, it is now. Has been for some time. So all these individuals involved, they're all criminally negligent in what's gone on. I mean, this is intentional. They had intent to cause harm to my life, to what I've been building, to the already existing problems when I was already just barely alive from what I had just coming out of the extreme part of the injury. This is all criminal in nature because this was all malicious intent. You know, to destroy somebody's life all on these delusions makes no sense. And there's numerous sets of people who have participated in doing this. And there is other situations, like I said in my earlier videos, that are running concurrently, separate from these situations at the same exact time. So I've not gotten to talking about any of that yet. I've not gotten to be talking about all of the situations as a whole, because some of it I can't talk about yet until I have more documentation, until certain events get to a certain degree. Then I can begin speaking on some of these other matters. But there is much more, and there's many of these events are going on all at one time for me, while I'm seriously injured, chronically sick with 5 brain injuries, struggling to get through day by day, week by week, struggling to keep everything running and going in the manner in which I've built things, so that I don't lose everything that I have left, because that is my only way out. I can't go backwards and restart from the beginning all over again and start working for somebody else all over again and rebuild from there. It's not possible due with the extreme amounts of injuries I've suffered from and where I am today with it all. It's not even possible. My only way out is to dig my way out of the hole everybody else has dug for me. So yes, this is technically my 4th wipeout. I've been wiped out 3 complete solid times, starting over from nothing from age 18 to the 2013 escapade, which would have been, so I would have been what, 32 or 30? I was 30, I believe, at that time. Okay, so in so that would make it 12 years, 3 complete wipeouts, and then the chapter 13 bankruptcy about a year and a half ago. So that's really 4 wipeouts. I just get to keep all my assets and pay everything back and build from there. So all of these are crimes. All of these individuals and agencies are participating currently and have participated in the past. I will be exposing more individuals, more agencies along the way. It's just got to be done in a certain order. I do fully intend on exposing every single person. And I do know that my life is in danger. I just don't care. I don't care that I'm going against a bunch of people with deep pockets that have malicious intent against me, because I've already pre-filmed so many additional videos that everything is already time and date stamped, that if I end up dead, they're definitely going to be charged, because there's other people with backups who are going to continue to release my videos on my behalf down the line should something happen to me. So it doesn't matter, the videos are coming out one way or another, either which way you look at it. But everybody's belief system on who I am as a person, what I've been doing in my life, what all I've had going on all these decades, it's a complete false narrative, none of which has ever been true. If you follow along and start watching my videos, watch my different videos, you'll start to pick up on the reality of my actual life, not the false narrative. It's all very clear and provable. If you just watch my videos and what I've been through, the proof is in the pudding. So yeah, basically my life speaks for itself. Yeah, I'm gonna do my whole next video. I'm gonna separate that right there, and I'm gonna go on with the next video on how my life speaks for itself. So I'll be back with more. Thanks, bye.